Hi there guys, and welcome to another Sudoku flavored video. Today we'll be looking at Arrow Sudoku. Arrow Sudoku is a variant on the classic theme, so it's still a regular Sudoku puzzle in that you need 1 through 9 everywhere you can think of, but then there's also an extra constraint which we'll see as we go through. This is the third puzzle I've done, I think, on the channel, so hopefully it's something that you guys are vaguely familiar with if you've seen any of those. But yes, it is from the collection of puzzles published by the Cracking the Cryptic team. Top pair of puzzle solving experts who have their own YouTube channel and well worth checking out. Links in the description. They solve puzzles much better than I do, and they've been going for years and years. So yeah, well worth checking them out. They've created this lovely collection of handcrafted puzzles with really nice logic, yeah, would definitely recommend picking up if this sort of thing interests you. There's hundreds of puzzles available and they're really fantastic. Excuse me. Ha, there we go. I thought I was going to be denied my sneeze there. Um, Right, let's jump in, shall we? So these apps are set up so that as you earn stars by completing puzzles, you unlock access to the later puzzles at the same time. So we are on to puzzle 42, because they didn't release all at the same time. This is our final 1-star difficulty puzzle for the Arrow Sudokus, so we'll see how we get on. What's the additional constraint when it comes to Arrow Sudoku? Well, these arrows you can see here, the cell, the digit that you put in this cell has to be summed to by the digit along its arrow. So in this puzzle, they're actually all 3 cell arrows, but they don't have to be. They could be 2 or more. And what was I going to say? Oh yes, and digits can repeat on an arrow. So obviously, straight arrows like this, you couldn't repeat a digit because it would break the rule of Sudoku about not repeating a digit in a row. So these digits are all different. However, these digits aren't necessarily different. These two could be the same digit. That's perfectly allowable in the rules of Sudoku. But these two would have to be different digits because obviously they're in the same box. Yeah, so you basically need to put the digits in so that these 3 add up to that one. Right, so that's it. Let's get going. Okay, then the usual way to start thinking about these is to, well, looking for long arrows makes sense. And when I say long arrows, I mean long arrows with definitely different digits. So actually, the fact that these could both be the same arrow puts less pressure on this cell. So for instance, these cells have to be different. So the minimum you could make these cells is 1, 2, and 3. And so that would add up to 6. So in fact, we know that any 3-digit arrow that have to have different digits, the minimum is going to be 6. So in fact, I'm going to just start, let me be lazy and do this, and just pop 6, 7, 8, 9. So we know that they're going to be at least 6. In fact, I can do quite a bit better than that, because this cell sees this 6, this cell sees the same 6, and this cell sees that 6, and this cell also sees that 6. So in fact, none of these can be a 6. So that's what I meant when I was being lazy. So I chucked in the 6 even though I knew it was pointless. Now, can we do better? We can. So that one actually can't be a 9. So that's important for a reason I'll discuss in a bit. This one can't be an 8 or a 9. So in fact, that's our first digit. That one must be a 7. This one can't be a 7 or an 7 or a 9 because it sees them in the box. So this, in fact, must be an 8. This one can't be a 9 or a 9, which is not as helpful. Right, it can be a 9 twice. Well, good for it. Okay, so what do we know now about these 3 cells? So these 3 cells, they're different and they add up to 7. In fact, if you have 3 cells, trying to make them add up to 7, you can only do that in one way. If the digits are different, it has to be a 1, 2, and 4 collection. So 1, 2, 3 makes 6, 1, 2, 4 makes 7. And you can't go lower than that. you couldn't have like 2 3s or whatever, or 2 2s. So there's definitely 1 2 7, 1 2 4 here, and in fact that cell can't be a 1 because it sees that one, and that one can't be a 1 because it sees that one. So that is a 1, and these are a 2 4 pair. Okay, now that's interesting because this cell, whichever of those two numbers it is, 2 or 4, will be in this, rules it out of this arrow. And as I've just said, a 7 needs to have a 1, 2, and a 4. So whichever, if I put a 2 here, I can't put a 2 here. If I put a 4 here, I can't put a 4 here. In either case, this cell cannot be a 7. So that must be an 8. Okay. And then this cell could still be either a 7 or an 8, and I can't do much better here. Now, okay, so what do we know about 8s? So 8s in 3 cells. Now there's 2 ways to make an 8 off of 3 cells. It can be a 1, 2, and 5, or it can be 1, 3, and 4. Both of those have a 1. So whichever way around it is, I know there's a 1 in one of these 3 cells, and in fact it can't be there, of course, because there's a 1 in that box. So there's a 1 here. Interestingly, then I can do the same logic here. So there's definitely a 1 there, and there's definitely a 1 here, because a 7 or an 8 will definitely need a 1 either way. Okay, what can we do next? So in this box, where can we put 7? So in the middle box, where does 7 go? Well, it's ruled out from these cells by the arrows, not the arrows, by the 7s over here and here. And then if we think about it, where can we put 7 in these 3? Well, actually, you couldn't put 7 on the arrow, because this arrow, this needs to add up to 8, and we've got 2 more cells, so you couldn't put 7, 1, and 0. That's not how Sudoku works. So in fact, that is a 7. Now, as I said, 7 off of 3 cells has to be 1, 2, and 4 if those cells have to be different. Unfortunately, because this cell could be the same, it doesn't give us as much sort of limit, and we really want to limit things down to 1 or 2 options, or 1 option. It's obviously the best, because then that becomes the answer. So this could be a few different things, right? So if these were both 1, this could be as big as a 5. They can't both be 1, to be fair, because this cell sees that 1 in there and that. So that is at least a 2. Or a 4. If that's a 4, this would be a 1, 2 pair. So yeah, so that could be a... that's really lovely, isn't it? So this cell has to be either a 2 or a 4. So it can't be a 1. It could be a 2, and then this would need to add up to 5, which is perfectly fine. Or it could be a 4, and this would need to add up to 3, which again is perfectly fine. However, we've got exactly the same logic that we had applied to this arrow with this 2, 4. So whichever if it is, that number can't go down here, which rules out a 7 from this cell, which is really nice. So that is in fact an 8. So that's cool. Well, I think it's cool. So yeah, so this is either a 1, 2 pair or a 2, 3 pair. Because if that's a 2, this needs to add up to 5, but there's a 4 in the box, so it couldn't be 1 and 4. So that would have to be 2 and 3. And it would actually have to go in this order. Or, because of the 3 in that box there, so that would rule that out. Or if that's a 4, these add up to 3. And in which case it could be a 1 or it could be a 1, 2 pair. So I haven't quite narrowed it down, but I know, and I do know there's a 2. Whichever way round it is, there's definitely a 2 in these 2 boxes. So I'll note that in the corner, and then I've limited the possibilities in the cell. Excuse me, I haven't quite got over that cough yet, which I thought I had. Now interesting. That's very interesting. So what's the lowest this could be? Well, if we do 1, 1, and 2. 1, 1, 2. Okay, well actually you couldn't do that, could you? Because there can't be a 1 here. So the lowest this could be is 2, 2, and 1, which would be 5. So this could be a 5, but then it couldn't be 6, 7, or 8. So this could be a 5 or a 9. I wonder if I'm missing anything obvious before I start digging too. Okay, yes. Just by Sudoku, that has to be an 8. So that's useful. Yeah, this could be a 4. Wow. Okay, that's really not very helpful, is it? Well, could it? Same thing. That can't be a 1. That could be a 1-2 pair, though, couldn't it? So that could be 5. And again, then it couldn't be. It couldn't be 7, 8, or 9. So that is a 5 or a 6. Okay. Does it have to be a 1? There does have to be a 1, doesn't there? Oh, you can't unclick. Oh, that's a bit annoying. There definitely has to be a 1 here, I think. Because what's the lowest you can go? You can go 2, 2, 2, 2, and 3. Yeah, which doesn't add up to 5 or 6. So there's definitely a 1 here, and in fact it's not there because of that one over there. So there's a 1 here. Maybe some just regular Sudokuing. Right, so there's a 1 in one of those two. It doesn't have to be a 1 up there, does there? So I've got 1's limited there. 3's are not very restricted just yet. 4's, there's definitely a 4 in one of those two. 7's. Well, you can't put 7 on an arrow. Not a 3-digit arrow at any rate. So, yeah, so the 7 in this box actually just goes here. Oh, okay, so that was actually staring me in the face. And similarly, that must be the 7 in the bottom box. 7, yeah. It's quite a lot of freedom on 7s. What about 8s? Similarly, you can't put an 8 there. So 8s are limited to 2 cells there, which mean they can't be here. So there's an 8 in one of those 2 cells as well. What do we know about 8s here? It's one of these 3. That's not very useful. Yeah, similarly up here. And finally 9s. Ah, we can place a 9 in that box. That's nice. That gives us 9's restricted to those 2 cells. That can't be a 9. Ah, there we go. So 9's are restricted there, which is a virtual 9 in this column. So we know we can't put another 9 in this row, rather I should say. So that is definitely not a 9. So that's a 9. Oh, in fact, yes. Sorry. Look, in this middle box, where does 9 go? Well, it doesn't go there by the 9s in the grid. So we have to put 9 somewhere in here, and it can't go on an arrow. Right, I should have seen that very early. So that is, in fact, a 9. Does that sort out our 9s? It does, because in this box you can't put a 9 on an arrow, so 9 has to go there. That gives us a 9 there. So hooray! We are done on 9s. Now this, yeah, 9 on for 3 is not very restricted at all. Come on, engage brain. No. Nope. I thought I had a thought, and then I swiftly didn't have a thought any longer. 5 and 6. Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, no. I should have seen that. I don't know why I missed that. So 8 in this box is restricted to 2 cells there, which means that can't be the 8. Similarly, no, not similarly. Oh, well, yeah, okay, so the reason I didn't see that before, I did see the 8s were here, and then a 9 went in there, didn't it? So, not my fault, Gov. Okay, yeah, I'm not making as much progress as I probably should be. Can that be a 4? That's a 4, that would be a 1-3 pair, which would be totally fine. This being a 9 is really unhelpful. There could be anything on this arrow. You need to average 3. It's not very helpful, is it? I do feel like 1s should be better resolved. I don't know why. What am I missing? This is a 1-star difficulty puzzle. Ah, of course. So that can't be a 7. Blind again. So 7 in this box is restricted because 7 can't go there or there by the 7's here and here, and then also it can't go on the arrow. So that is a 7, which sorts that out as a 7. That's nice. Sorts that out as a 7 and that out as an 8. Ooh, I wonder if we've just done some damage here. So 8s go there in that box. 7s are done, I think. Yeah, okay, so that's all the 7s. And we've got 8s in a little X ring down there. So we've done the big digits, basically. So that's 6. Similarly, 6 can't be on this arrow, can it? So 6 is limited here. Yeah, because it would be 6, 1, and 1, which you're not allowed to do. You could do that on one of these arrows. That could be 6. That could be 1, 1, 6. I mean, it couldn't because of these, but you know what I mean. Okay, so in this box, right. I think we're making some progress finally. So 6 in this box is limited. Then it can only go in one of these 2 places because of this and this. Excuse me. Ruling out these cells, and you can't put the 6 on the arrow. So that is a 6, which puts 6 here, and you can't put 6 on this arrow because obviously the arrow itself needs to add to 6. So you'd have to have 2 zeros to accompany it, which doesn't make sense. So that's a 6. 6 is in this column up here, so that must be a 6, and in fact it is a 6-8 pair, which is nice. Is this useful? It's difficult to, I mean, even though you've got this additional degree of freedom with these 2 potentially being the same, it's still difficult to make a 6, right? Because if that was the smallest that can be is a 2. In fact, I think it has to, no, sorry, it can't be a 2. 2 and 4 are over there. So the smallest it could be is 3, and I think it has to be a 3 because the next available digit is a 5, and that would ruin the arrow because then both of these would need to add to 1. So that is in fact a 3, and I think that is quite big, right? Because that gives us this being a 5, and we finally have some progress on these 8 arrows. These 3 arrows here, I thought they would be really powerful instantly, but they just weren't because you can't. It's still, you know, it's either a 1, 2, and 5 or 1, 3, and 4, and yeah, so that wasn't very helpful. But this being a 5 has finally sorted this out. So this is a 1, 2 pair, which is useful because that then makes that a 4. And then we did some logic up here before, didn't we? So these 2 have to add up to 3. So that can't be a 3. So that is a 1, 2 pair, which is nice. It's not as nice as it could have been. What are we missing from this column? This needs 1, 2, and 3? No, 5. 2 and 5. And unfortunately, does that locks? No, it doesn't lock it in because that could still be 3, 4 either side, couldn't it? That could be a 1, 3, 4. I was going to say this must make this a 1, 2, 5 arrow, but I don't think it does. That could be a 3, 4, 1. Yeah, ignore me and my crazy ramblings. Yeah, this puzzle's resisting. Okay, so that's a 6. So these are a 1. This is also a 1-2 pair. Ah, and that gives us a 1-2 pair in the column. And so basically what that means is nowhere else on this column can there be a 1 or a 2. So that rules out the 1 from that cell. So that is a 1. And that is a 4. Which is a 3. So yeah, so that was what I was looking for. And that's a 2 and that's a 1. Right, I think this is going to solve this puzzle now. I think we're basically done. Although the proof will be in the pudding. So that's a 1, that's a 2, that's a 1, that's a 2. Yeah, these arrows are tumbling like flies now. Right, there can't be a 3 on this 8 arrow because of the 3's there. So this is a 5-2 pair, which we can resolve. That's a 5, that's a 2, that's a... excuse me. That's a 5. I misread that. Pencil mark as a 3. That's a 4, that's a 2. That is a 5, which means that these two add up to 6, and so the missing digit from the arrow is a 3. Can we fill in any other 3s? We must be able to. There's a 3 up there. Yes, 3 down in this box is restricted by this 3 here, so that must be a 3. These two have to add up to 5 and cannot have a 1, so that is a 1. That is a 2-3 pair. Ah, yeah. So this is nice. So there is one. I've finally been able to show one arrow that does in fact have 2 3s on it. So that is a 3-3-2 arrow, which doesn't feel right in the world of Sudoku, but it's perfectly acceptable. Perfectly acceptable. Can we do any damage on 6s? We can, because there's a 6 in that box in that cell, which then sorts out this 6, which sorts out this 6, which sorts out this 6. Oh my gosh. Absolutely flying on the 6s. In fact, yeah, that was all of them. Blimey. They just fell like dominoes. That is a 5. To complete the box. That is a 2 to complete the column, and the box. Actually, the box would have been easier to look at. There's an 8 in that cell. There's an 8 in that cell. Ooh, that's all the big numbers done. 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, so we are missing a 2 from this box. We are missing a 2 from this box, which must go there. Where does 3 go in this box? It goes here, and then down here. That's a 5. That's a 5. That's a 4. Right, let's go. Whew. This puzzle was either I just missed some really obvious stuff early on, or that was genuinely quite tough. But either way, completed it. Yes, happy with that. That was fun. If a bit challenging for a 1-star puzzle, that was a genuinely tricky one. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you have been, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Cheers.